Hi everyone and welcome, my name is Dora and this is my first update to my eyeshadow declutter project pan. It's also my finale for Pan Those Eyeshadows and Project Level Up and update 3 for Expand Those Pans. I'm throwing a lot in here, but actually I will be showing you 10 different palettes, 11, let's be precise here. And let's just get into it. Okay, so with regards to my eyeshadow declutter project pan, this is now my main eyeshadow project aside from Pan That Palette and a couple of spin-offs from Pan That Palette. Yeah, let's keep it at that. Over the course of the past 2 years, I've been able to dwindle down my collection by panning my way through my makeup, but with eyeshadow palettes, less successful at finishing any products. Obviously, you know, they take forever to finish. If you are one of the few people who can pan an entire palette in 1 year, you know, hats off to you. I haven't been able to do it yet. So if I want to really reduce my eyeshadow collection, really the only thing I can do in order to do that is to declutter. Declutters are really, really hard for me. Declutters of other things like fashion, super easy, but there's something about makeup and specifically eyeshadow palettes where I'm like, no. Everything inside me is like, I want to hold on to it. I'm enjoying the colors even if I may not use the palette. But it's a space issue. You know, of course, I'd love to have a whole library of palettes, but it's not really feasible for where I'm at in my life right now. I don't want makeup to take up that much space. I would like everything to fit into 2 drawers. I would like to have one everyday makeup drawer, which I already have, and then one backup drawer with the palettes that I'm not currently using, and with all of the other makeup, including nail polishes that I'm not using on a daily basis. And right now, I'm doing all right. I've got 2 drawers, but then I also have this makeup bag here. And then I've got an overspill of like 6 or 7 palettes that I can't fit into my drawer anymore either. So I've got 46 eyeshadow palettes. One of those is my Pan That Palette, Berry and Black Cherry. And 45, I had 9 months left of the year when I started this project last month. And I thought, great. 5 palettes, work on them every month. At the end of the month, determine which 2 palettes do I want to put on the chopping block. At the end of the year, after those 9 months, look at those 18 palettes and save up to 10. I'm just quickly going to show you what I've had in here for my April selection. I started a few days later, but yeah, I've pretty much had the entire month. And then I'll show you what my May selection is. I had to put my hair up, it's boiling in here. We've had a little heat wave. From tomorrow it's going to be cold again, but today's the best time to film. In terms of my selection for April, I have had in here, in no particular order, the I Heart Revolution Tasty Pineapple palette, the Revolution Kombucha Kiss palette, my most used palette, Beauty Bay Wilderness, Beauty Bay New Mood, and Ellen Tracy, the Naked Eye collection. Right, thoughts immediately. So bear in mind, I haven't been one of those people yet, maybe I'm changing now, who buys or gets an eyeshadow palette and immediately swatches everything. I just don't do that. So as part of these videos, or at least for my intro, I have been swatching every single one of these palettes here. And at that point, many of them were swatched for the first time because I hadn't even used them yet. So that was interesting already. And I very, very quickly recognized that the 2 palettes with the best formula from this selection for April are, of course, the Beauty Bay palettes. So these 2, for that reason alone, are definite keeps for me. If you're familiar with the Beauty Bay formula, and I'm sure you are because most people are, you know this. This is a great formula, super pigmented, they're buttery, they work well, easy to blend, lovely swatches, just really vibrant colors, you know. These 2 were declutters from Ruth, so I do understand why she didn't want them anymore. I was more familiar with this palette because it was my Project Level Up Level 2 palette last year. So I know about it, but I really surprised myself when I swatched this bottom row here, specifically those red ones, that I felt at the time didn't really show up that well on my eyes, but the swatches were immaculate, you know. Did I actually use them? No, I didn't. Okay, here we are. So anyway, these two are 100% staying in my collection. Now with these next three, I'm not so sure. I did at the beginning of the month think maybe I'll declutter or put on the chopping block, maybe I'll just do all three of them, and that way for my May selection, it's my birthday month, so of course, you know, I want to, yeah, you'll see, like many of these palettes are palettes that I really enjoy using or that I have good memories of using them. Not for a sentimental thing, but more like, yeah, I know they work well, I know I like them, that kind of thing. So, and I thought maybe, you know, if I put 3 on the chopping block this month, that way I could maybe only declutter 1 in May or save it for another month. But I'm just not so sure. Here's the thing, with this one, I thought that the swatches were really not as vibrant as the Beauty Bay ones, but it's a really fun color story that I find really quite unique in my collection. Or am I going to put this on the chopping block too? I am really not so sure. Maybe I am gonna do 3. There was a theme for my April selection. They weren't randomized and they weren't handpicked by me either. I literally selected the palettes that were still within projects that I knew I was going to end this time round, which I'm doing today. So yeah, everything's a little bit different. I called it like my transition month. For May onwards, I think things are going to be a bit different. I'll probably get closer to hitting no pan left behind in palettes. Not that that is a specific goal, but of course, you know, the better I get to know a palette, the more of an educated decision I can make in terms of, is it definite keep or a chopping block item. Kombucha Kiss. There are shadows in here that I do not like, and then there are other shadows in here that I really, really like, and many of them are actually Franken shadows. So yeah, we'll talk about that in more detail, and I'm guessing in that sense I could put it on the chopping block and then rescue those shadows from the declutter palette pile. You know, I also said in the intro that with those palettes that I'm going to actually let go of for good, I'm either going to rehome them, I might rescue individual shadows and repress them into my singles palettes. Ellen Tracy I've been a bit underwhelmed with already in terms of the swatches. I really had to build them up. Maybe it's because this is an older palette. Does it have an expiration date? It does. It says 9/11/2025 and it was manufactured 9/12/2023. This hasn't officially expired yet. However, there was an eye pencil in here that had gone bad and I had to declutter it last summer, even though I had never used it. I like the idea of this palette. You know, you can prop up the mirror like that and then use it. I'll show you in Those Eyeshadows bit in a minute how this one is looking. But yeah, the shadows are underwhelming. The color story is very nice, but I think also it's very bulky, you know, because it's about space at the end of the day. This, getting rid of this one might mean that I get to keep 2 palettes. Look at that, that's like literally half, less than half the palette in terms of the space. You know, it could be like, instead of holding on to this, I might then have to get rid of 2 in order to create that space in my backup makeup drawer. So I think this might be a good move to get rid of this one. And then I think this one is also a chopping block one, even though I like those Franken shadows, but I think I could rescue them. Or shall I just incorporate them into my Panda palette? Okay, something to think about. This one, yeah, I think I'm gonna put it on the chopping block. They're definitely, you know, some of those mattes, I really like them, but I know I've got like, you know, those pinky, peachy ones. I've got them in a palette that I'm gonna roll into May actually. And then I've also got them in a mini, like in the sort of Natasha Denona 5-pan palette style from I Heart Revolution that I like better. I already had this palette on the chopping block last summer and I tried to give it away at a clothes swap, but nobody wanted it, and then I kept it, and it's been my level 2 palette now, and I have enjoyed it, but yeah, okay, let's do that. I'm gonna kick off with putting 3 palettes on the chopping block, or maybe 2, and doing something else entirely with this one. I'm gonna trial that, yeah, for Pan That palette as a companion palette. Ugh. And these are on the chopping block. That's it. I'm now going to give you my May selection, and then we're going to talk about Pan Those Eyeshadows, Project Level Up, and expand those pans. As for my May selection, I'm gonna start with a palette that I knew 100% would feature as part of my 5 for May. And it's the Sigma New Mood palette, which I bought fairly recently, and I have never swatched it. I am of course going to swatch it for the cutaway shots here for this video, the close-up, so you can see that. But yeah, I can't wait to use this one, and I think it's very pretty. I'm drawn to this palette. It does remind me a little bit of the Black Cherry, my Pan That palette here and there. But you know, I'm gonna get to compare that, yeah. So this one was a definite yes for me, and then I went back and forth with regards to the other 4. But I also wanted to make sure I get a little bit of variety with color. Definitely I'm drawn to pinks as well, so that's in here. I made sure there was gonna be greens for Emerald, the month of May. Love that color as well. I love a pink and green look together. And yeah, just a couple of other bits that I thought would be nice. My mind then immediately went to my other project, one of them that I'm doing, Deck of Panning, and I got the Joker, so I'm trying to work on 5 different palettes, and I definitely wanted to select 1 palette from the 4 that I've got remaining to hit that goal on, you know, so that I could make some more progress every month, since I'm not gonna roll them all into the same month, yeah. And this is the one I went for. So this is the Revolution Pro Smoked palette. I enjoy this. This was also a level 2 palette in Project Level Up, I think in the first year that I was doing it. So here it is. Yes, for May, but I have to admit, I really, really do like a smoky eye in the spring summer. I think it's really nice. I'm looking forward to using this one. I think it's very easy to combine it as well here and there, you know. There is that pressed glitter here in Smite and in Trigger. I can use that as a nail polish topper if I don't want to put that on my eyes. I absolutely loved a look with Sepia and Fortify, so I'm definitely going to try that out again. It's been a couple of years. Deceive is a beautiful shadow that is duochrome, so white. It shifts to like a taupe green type of color, but also a pink. Very nice. Bit of periwinkle here. Love the blacks and the blues, all of it. So yeah, can't wait. Can't wait. And then I just wanted to like fill it up with like color variety of shades and colors that I'm really into. So I had to bring in a pink palette, the Sweet Pinks by Juvia's Place. I really enjoy this palette. I think it's so fun. I see other people declutter it here and there, but for me, it's still a favorite. So yeah, here it is. And since we're already in May, I'm actually using this shadow today. I've got it topped over this Pan That palette eye look I've got going on underneath it. Really enjoy it. The next 2 are also drugstore brands. We've already had a Revolution one in here, so here's another one. This is the Chilled palette, not Revolution Pro though. Some really nice emerald greens in here and sort of, you know, greenish golds here. There are neutrals here as well, so it looks a lot like a green monochromatic palette, but there really is a lot of options here in terms of neutral looks as well. And this shade here, Burn, I really enjoy wearing on my eyebrows. I think it's a good shade. I like that darker one. It might not look like that, but I do like a darker powder, and I just go in very lightly. And then finally, I think I just threw it in because I wanted to have like some more purple and pink options. And this is the Essence Welcome to Miami palette. Really, really love this pink shimmer here. Love this lilac-y matte here. There is some neutral stuff going on here as well. I just want to give it a bash. So since I now decided on 2 for the chopping block for April, I will have to pick 2 out from this lot at my next update. when I introduce you to my June palettes, and also I'll tell you how I've been getting on with them. It will be a little bit of a different format. I kind of like sped through this bit quite a bit with the previous palettes, because of course now I'm going to show you each and every one of them properly again, as I am giving you the updates and finales of these various other projects. This is the project that I'm actually gonna be continuing with. So you will see that May selection again when I show you which 3 shadows and 3 palettes I want to continue to work on for Expand Those Pans. So the idea of Expand Those Pans is, as the name suggests, you pick an eyeshadow that has already got pan and you select whichever goal you like. For me, that is 5 uses on a shadow. Actually, for some of them it was a bit different, but yeah, we'll get to it. You select a goal on it, and once you've hit that goal, you can roll that shadow out and then replace it with something else. Please make sure you check out my description box below, because some amazing panners have jumped onto this project as well. Many of them are integrating it into their Pan Those Eyeshadows. Others have done this project in the past. But yeah, everyone's listed down below, and make sure you check them out, give them a subscribe and support them. Thank you. First of all, Beauty Bay Wilderness palette. So there's this shadow here called Ray, and this already had pan as part of my Level Up Level 2 palette from last year. And my goal was to use this shadow 5 additional times. So here is what Ray is looking like today. And I'm very pleased to tell you that I have hit that 5 use goal, and I have worn it a few times as an inner corner highlight. Of course, that makes sense. That was really fun and I enjoyed it. But I also, a couple of times, used it as a topper shadow. Absolutely loved it. Another reason why I'm, of course, keeping this beautiful palette, even if that bottom row, the red ones, yeah, who knows, you know, I might not ever pan it to completion. I do think that most of these other shadows in here, and maybe for the reds, it's only really these 3. Everything else in here is literally gorgeous. So yeah, there's that. And then I also had 2 shadows in here for Expand Those Pans. So this is my Pan That palette from last year and the previous year as well. And I wanted to work on charcoal for 15 uses, and on Spice also for 15 uses. So I already had 6 uses on charcoal here. I'm still at 6 uses. I did not touch this shadow. I've been trying so hard to work on everything else in here, and I really had to prioritize certain shadows and projects over others. I thought that was really interesting because it showed me that the amount of projects, eyeshadow projects I've given myself, there are not enough days in the month for me to hit all of those goals. That is impossible. With Spice, I'm at 3 uses. I mean, this was a repressed shadow, so that's why the pan expansion is so massive. I also managed to finish up Energy. It was just 1 more use. I also used Passion once. So I think that might be a pan expansion too, even though that wasn't a goal as such. And yeah, coming back to the eyeshadow declutter project pan part, it's this column here that I really like. I also really like charcoal and the dark side, even though I didn't use these shadows this past month. Blazing I've used once, really still like this one a lot. But as for heat, Fiery and Flames, I am happy to get rid of those. Am I going to roll this into Pan That palette as a whole? Or, yeah, maybe I will actually. I think so. We'll see. You're just gonna have to watch my next update and I will let you know there. In terms of Expand Those Pans, my goals for next month, and I might update you on that in my eyeshadow declutter project pan or in a separate video. I'm still working everything out. With this palette, there is a pan in here. I already had this in Expand Those Pans, so I didn't want to work on this one again. As for the Sigma New Mood, there are no pans in here, so this one doesn't work for this part of the project. So I wanted to pick something from the remaining 3 palettes, 1 shadow each, and the Essence Welcome to Miami palette has 1 pan. And it's this lilac shadow here. I think the pan expansion could be really fun and satisfying. So 5 uses I would like to hit on here. If I don't meet that goal, tough. It just means I haven't hit my goal. and I need to try harder for the next month and the next month's selection. I'm not going to roll these over into the next month. I think that defeats the purpose. If I get ambitious, we'll see. Maybe I'll keep them on for a little bit longer. We'll see. And then with the chilled palette, I've got 2 pans in here, Candyland and Sativa. Candyland was in Expand Those pans already, as you can see. And then this brown shimmer shadow has a tiny, tiny pan. So 5 uses on this I think would be really, really cool. And finally, the smoked palette also has 2 pans, Sepia and Muse. And Muse is definitely smaller, harder to see. So this will be my Expand Those pans shadow. Let's talk about this palette here. Let's talk about Project Level Up. So I had to hit 2 new pans in this palette, and I had to do no pan left behind on this palette twice through. And this project's idea comes from Sofie of Sofie Alexandra. Her channel is linked down below as well. She's got a playlist going on from what I can remember. So I'm going to link that one down there as well. Such a fun project. I love it. The only reason I'm stopping it or halting it right now is because it is distracting me from using these eyeshadows that I've put into my month selection organically. Yeah. Right. I have hit that goal. I have used every single shadow in here twice. I had some uses on here already, but I wasn't even done with the no pan left behind once through part. So that's really cool. I feel very, you know, accomplished here. And I also managed to hit those 2 goals. So yes, even though I'm not leveling up, it feels, the FOMO, honestly. At least I have completed level 2 now. So I already had pan in syrup here, that pink one, but one of my new pans is Crown. I opted for the mint color. That got me pan, 7 uses it only took me to hit pan in this. That was cool. And then I also had pan in Hummingbird, there it is, and that took me 13 uses. Even though this is now on the chopping block, it's looking so well loved. Anyway, I think I'm doing the right thing by all the decisions I have made so far. Yeah. So there's that, short and sweet. Let's move into Pan Those Eyeshadows. Possibly for the last time this year. I'm sure I will do this again in 2026. And who knows, I may even bring it back sooner. But I have had in here 3 eyeshadows because I've been combining it with Expand Those pans. I think I was working on 5 or 6 shadows in that project combined. And the first shadow I'm going to talk to you about comes from my 11th palette. And this is the Ciate London I'm a Woman, What's Your Superpower? I randomized a shadow in here called Power Hungry, and I managed to hit pan on that back in March. Here it is. I hit pan in this palette. First pan in this palette. I won't talk too much about this palette. It will still come round. I'm still going to use it as part of a monthly selection. Not sure which month yet. And I had pan in this shadow after 16 uses. So happy I've got a pan to show you at my finale, because the other 2 I was less successful with. So let's start over here. This is the most depressing one. Ellen Tracy, the Naked Eye Collection. I just randomized shadow number 4. Probably my least favorite shadow in here, this one. And I only used it once and I didn't enjoy it. And that was that. And I had this on holiday with me. I used the mirror. That part of it is very handy. I did do a look with it a couple of days ago. And you know, it was nice. I used this shadow here. I used the outer corner shadow. Yeah, like if no one wanted it from like my family and friends or Vinted, then I might rescue some of these shadows. But you know, we'll see all that in like December, January. But yeah, didn't hit pan on it. Okay. And then there's the New Mood palette, and I randomized a shadow called Creative. I had 13 uses in this shadow at my previous update. I'm now at 15 uses. Yep, didn't do so great. So no pan yet here either. I used these top 3 shadows here, these 2 as well. I even used Euphoric on my nails. This is probably a lesser favorite shadow in here. It flips between this like green gold to a more sort of peachy orange type thing. I'm not loving it. So I only really dipped into the pinks mainly, some of the greens, less so this type of area. Yeah. I'm keeping it anyway. I've still got time to play with this, should I choose to do that. But yeah, that was that. So one new pan, one sole new pan. Weird for me, but I think it's all right. As soon as I hit my goal on the Level Up Level 2 palette, the pressure came off because I knew I didn't have enough days left in April to hit more goals. I decided, I think I had like 5 or 6 days left, and I decided, let me just do one look, one day, one palette. Yeah. And I kind of did that. With some of them, I like worked them together. Some of them, I also worked them together with my Pan That palette. But I did feel like I got an idea of each palette. A very small idea, you know, rather than like a really informed and invested. And I tried everything in different combinations. But I felt like I owed it to myself to at least honor each palette properly. If I, you know, because I was ignoring them so much. Because I was trying to hit no pan left behind, and also hit goals on my main Pan That palette. Yeah, there are also 3 shadows in here, 3 single shadows, because I've got 27 of those, and I would like to put 3 into each month's selection as well. But I will update you on those in my Pan That palette project, because that's part of my build your own palette, which I'm doing over there. So yeah, there'll be more decluttering going on there. With that one, I don't really have goals as such. It's like declutter at least 1, if possible. Up to 3 is also fine. I would be interested again to hear from you which 2 palettes you think I'm going to be putting on the chopping block at the end of the month. I thought that was really helpful last time, because I think in my mind, when I wrote down and selected those palettes and just looked at them without swatching them, I had a different idea about where I might be going in terms of decluttering. And hearing it from you guys, like especially, you know, so much in favor of getting rid of this one, that was really useful. And then I was like, as soon as I read that, I was a bit like, yeah, this makes sense, you know. So yeah, love to hear from you. What do you think I should be putting on the chopping block at the end of the month? Yeah, let's see what I end up doing. I really look forward to a more free-flowing month. I have had also some days where I didn't wear any makeup at all. That was really new to me as well. Like, I started the month, today's the 2nd of May. Yesterday I didn't wear any eye makeup, or on the 30th of April. It's new to me. It's nice for that pressure to come off. I'll let you go now. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't done so already. And other than that, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or night, wherever you are. And I'm sending you so much love. Take care. Bye.